Seven Trumpets Prepper. In this video, I want to talk to you about keeping Christ in Christmas. I have made some videos over the years about this particular holiday, but I'm not making this video to bash people. I'm not making this video to incite anger or wrath or make people mad. What I'm making this video about is to encourage those that are non-believers, those that are believers, and those walking in the way. All those, because you might say, well, ain't a believer walking in the way. I'm talking specifically to Christians at this moment when I say those that are believers but not exactly walking in the way, in the Torah and the commandments, etc. Because of the believing, grace covers that you don't have to worry about the commandments, and I could go on and on. The certain elements of Christianity that troubles me nowadays. But what I want to ask you is, what does that mean to you? Because number one, do we have the facts? I look at my notes here that I made additional to what was already wrote down. Is, if someone come to you out on the street and asked you about this topic, would you really have the correct knowledge? Because the question that abounds is, what does Christmas have to do with Messiah? Okay, because if we're all honest with each other, and we went out on the street today, went into the store, you're not going to see a nativity scene. You're going to see a fat red man, and you're going to see a male phallus. When you say male phallus, yeah, a holiday tree is ancient pagan idolatry, fertility idol symbol, and the wreath being a female idol symbol. You have to ask yourself these questions. This December 25th thing, is that from the Most High Yah, or is it from Rome? Is it from Babylonianism? Because we see that if we look and one just does a quick Google search and begins the study process, you see that this Feast of Saturnalia, December 25th, the sun god worship, all this stuff, the Christmas tree being a Babylonian pagan idolatry, fertility idolatry, and then you have the balls that would go on the holiday tree, which were actually severed heads, and the candle wax was actually the fat melted down from child sacrifice victims to appease the false gods. When you see this stuff and you start putting the facts and history together, what should we be preaching to each other? Because I don't see anything that Messiah, the anointed one, Christ, if we want per se, in Christmas at all. What I see is a terribly wicked, satanic, Babylonian, pagan holiday. And we as believers shouldn't join ourselves to that wickedness. As a young child, I just seen this was very deceptive. I'm like, why should I believe in this magical fat red man? I mean, we shouldn't practice magic. Scripture says not to be part of that either. And here it's this, this guy that's supposed to be coming and bringing gifts, but yet you're also wanting me to believe in Messiah, which I can't see nor touch. So imagine what that does to a child's mind. That, for me, okay, I put the one away because I figured it out on my own. Like, this is garbage. But believing in Messiah, obviously the scripture, the history, the things that are laid out before humanity, prophecy unfolds. And I mean, obviously, even as a young child, I'm like, okay, I can see that this is legit, but the Santa, the fat red man, he's alive. You look at scripture too, and you ask yourself, okay, the trees and wreaths and Santa, which can also spell Satan, that's kind of scary too. All this stuff, you say, where do we find it in scripture? Well, you actually find that not being condoned, actually being condemned. This is the Etz Affair I'm reading out of today. Usually read out of the Hallelujah Scriptures, both I love dearly. A wonderful, sweet lady gave me this, Miss Joyce, when I spoke in Atlanta. She said the Most High put it on her spirit to give this to me, because I was actually talking before service about I've been meaning to get me one of these, and I'm so grateful. That was one of the sweetest gifts ever. As we read Jeremiah 10, it says, "Hear ye the word which Yahuwah speaks unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahuwah, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of the heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cuts a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman. With the axe they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not." Now, people can go on to say this is actually about creating idols. making idols, and etc. Now, what I can say back to that is this. As we look at the Babylonian practices that further transition to what we would call the holiday tree now, Christmas tree, etc., if you look at those things and you study all the way back to the pictures and things of Babylon, and go backwards, reverse on this, we can see that Tammuz, Nimrod, all these things, like baking cookies to Santa now, the people used to bake cakes to the Queen of Heaven. We can see this in Ezekiel 9 too. You read in the scripture, the Most High Yah told the slaughtering messenger, or told an angel to go through and mark on the foreheads of all those that sigh and cry for the abominations that was done in Israel. And after that, the slaughtering messengers go through and was begin at his house and begin with those that were ancient in days, the ancients, the elderly, and to go from there down. And these people were baking cakes to the Queen of Heaven. They were provoking the Most High Yah to wrath. They were doing all sorts of the wickedness, the abominations of the heathen, sending their children through fire to Molech. I mean, folks, we can see Stir, Saturn, all these things, the abominations of it, throughout the pages of history and the pages of Scripture, all the way up from then to now. And it is being morphed, commercialized, and packaged very neatly and sold to you as Christmas. And it's not right. And anybody that truly loves the Most High Yah, anybody that is an honest Christian, whether they've came to the way yet or not, have got to ask themselves these real questions. Not what your pastor said, not what your wife feels good about, not what your kid, if it breaks their heart or not, what really is right or what's wrong at the end of the day. You got to ask, would the Most High appreciate this? Would he participate in this? Would he condone this? Would this be what he wants? Because we see in Leviticus 23 his set-apart feast. This is not among it. And that's another thing. Real quickly while we start going through these questions. Why is it that Christians participate in trunk or treats with Halloween knowing it's witchcraft, and participate in Christmas knowing that it's not right, but yet condemn keeping of the biblical feast? Does that work salvation? Salvation's through the blood of Messiah and the keeping of the commandments, but at the same time, it's like, if we're going to keep a feast and honor something, why not keep the biblical feast? You know, I mean, Feast of Tabernacles is going to be kept in the New Kingdom. I mean, Zechariah speaks of that. Those that doesn't, I think it's Zechariah 14, chapter 14 speaks of that, is those that don't come up won't have no rain. So, I mean, you know, it shows that in the New Kingdom these things will be taken, and the true feast will be in place, and these wicked pagan festivals will be done away with. Would the ancients have participated? Well, now I asked myself that question. Yes, they would have. Why? Because they were wicked. Because that they baked cakes to the Queen of Heaven. They mourned for Tammuz. They Nimrod, the whole 9 yards, all this stuff. If you look at what went down in Ezekiel 9, these people were participating in something that has been omega up to Christmas now. Now, ultimately, we look at Roman Catholicism and the blending of paganism with that which should have been scriptural and away from that. We see this blending that took place a long time ago as well. And because of that, we have a culture now in the last days that participates in this holiday unknowingly, some people knowingly, and some people just don't care. And it's sad because we're not honoring Christ, Messiah, Yahushua, the Son of the Most High Yah that come and died for you. We're not honoring him. We're not honoring the Father through participating in this. Actually, you're participating in something that is an abomination in his sight. And matter of fact, it's what makes it even worse is the abomination that's being practiced is actually a rolled in cumulative of all these abominations themselves smushed into one thing. What I mean by that is like cooking Santa cookies now is just the same tenure as cooking cookies, baking cakes to the Queen of Heaven. The idolatry, the like the Dagon priests and things like that we see in the Babylonian pictures that they're taking care of the fertility tree. Here we see Christmas trees with severed heads. Instead, we have the balls on them, lights on the tree instead of the candle wax from the child sacrifice victims. And I know this doesn't sit well with a lot of people. I know people say, well, I know in my heart, the heart is terribly wicked, deceitful above all things. That passage in Jeremiah, I'll try to put it in the video description below. But that is the problem, folks, is I'm to a point in my life, this is the last thing I'm going to say before I wrap this video up, I don't want to think with my head anymore. I don't want to think with my heart. I don't even really want to think with my gut. I want to just go with what thus saith Yahuwah, because it's really all I have to fall back on anymore. People's opinions will get you mixed up. People's thoughts will get you mixed up. There's things I've said in this video may be confusing to you. You're only going to find it by looking at history. You're only going to find it by studying the Word. Putting away of Christmas is one of the best things you can ever do, because it is nothing more than a pagan, wicked festival. I'm Seven Trumpets Prepper. I hope this channel's been a blessing to you. Make sure to subscribe, and until we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper channel, I hope you have a most blessed day in Yahushua name.